What is up everyone, U23 here and welcome back to another video. Now with the release of Umbral mods, we've seen a lot of people making Umbral builds for their favorite frames, and I've had the urge to do the same with my Zephyr. A few days ago I said to myself, you know what, the hell with it, let's try it out and see what we can make out of it. So I set about building myself a second Zephyr Prime, and a few days ago got done fully multiforming for the new build. Now a word of warning, the Umbral mods themselves are powerful, but very expensive. To be able to fully mod her up properly, I had to rebuild a new Zephyr Prime and forma her 5 times to make enough space for all the other mods. Even the Excellent slot needed forma. This build is going to be expensive as hell, so keep that in mind. That said, I have been playing with this build for a bit now, and with over 600 hours of Zephyr playtime, I can say that this is by far and away my favorite Zephyr build. So, let's get into the build. Of course, we have our 3 Umbral mods in here, along with the Jetstream Augment mod. Jetstream is what makes Zephyr Zephyr, so you're gonna need that, and with an Umbral Zephyr build, we're gonna need the Umbral mods. I think that all makes sense. Every single mod slot outside of the Umbral mods will need a forma, however, and this includes the spot for Jetstream. After that, we have Augur Message and a rank 6 Narrow-Minded. Duration is a necessary stat on Zephyr to keep your turbulence up for longer, along with increasing the range and speed of Tailwind. Augur Message is cheap enough to fit into the build. It's only 4 points, so that's really nice. And still gives a good amount of duration, 24% in this case. A rank 6 Narrow-Minded is the key to this build, however. A rank 6 Narrow-Minded gives you enough duration, yet still keeps your range above 50%. Staying above 50% range, in my experience, prevents enemies from clipping into your hitbox and killing you when you're flying around. Stay above 50% range is basically the thing, and a rank 6 Narrow-Minded does that pretty well, along with giving you a nice enough duration boost to it, and also importantly, only costing 6 points, and since points are incredibly expensive on this thing and we need to save as much space as we can, a rank 6 Narrow-Minded does the job perfectly. This leaves you with 187% duration, which is close to my preferred 190% duration, as a 190-ish% duration allows you to use your Tailwind indoors and not crash into walls 24/7, while still keeping up a good enough duration for your turbulence, around 38 seconds from the top of my head. After that, we have Streamlined for more efficiency, and Power Drift in the Excellent slot for a bit more power strength in there. And yes, the Excellent slot also needs forma on it. The last slot, however, in this build is up to personal preference. You could go for Gladiator Resolve, as I did, to push your maximum HP up a bit higher, giving this build more EHP than Prime Flow and Quick Thinking would. The second option that you have would be Augur Secrets, giving you a bit more power strength and therefore more movement speed and projectile speed on your turbulence. Whichever one you decide to choose is up to you, just make sure to format the last slot into the appropriate polarity. I went with Gladiator Resolve. I like the idea of having even more HP, so I had to format a D polarity. If you're gonna go in with Augur Secrets, as you can see over here, make sure to format into a dash polarity instead. Lastly, the Aura mod. Now, we don't have a lot of choice here, I'm afraid. The Aura mod is going to be Steel Charge. Steel Charge gives you a whopping 18 points, and since every single point is incredibly valuable on this build, Steel Charge is going to be a necessity. That does make this build a bit more selfish, however, since you're not running Corrosive Projection, means you're not going to be helping out the team as much. Unlike the normal Zephyr build, however, you can actually get away with meleeing enemies since you have a good amount of armor plus health on this build. And with the shield that you get from Turbulence, along with the extra movement speed from Jetstream, meleeing enemies is actually pretty fun to do with Zephyr, so Steel Charge definitely works out at the very least. Then come the Arcanes, which is the final bit of this build. And the reason I believe this build also works better than Prime Flow plus Quick Thinking on Zephyr. You have 3 sets of Arcanes that I recommend you choose from. Arcane Energize, Arcane Grace, and Arcane Guardian. Arcane Energize keeps your energy topped off. Arcane Grace gives you lots of health regen and for the inevitable chunks of damage that you'll end up taking here and there. And Arcane Guardian makes you very tanky for a while, giving you a whole bunch of armor. I think it's 600 armor for 20 seconds from the top of my head. What arcanes you choose depends entirely on your playstyle. There is no better or worse option here. If you use the Generic Focus School a lot and you don't use your Tailwind and your Tornadoes as much, I would recommend ditching Energize and going for a Grace plus Guardian build. The extra armor and health regen will make you incredibly tanky. If you're like me, however, and do use your first ability Tailwind a lot to reposition, along with your fourth ability, your Tornadoes, to CC enemies and apply damage easier, then sticking with Energize is heavily recommended, since you need to have enough energy left to be able to cast your Turbulence at all times. If you're not using Turbulence and Zephyr, you will die. And Energize gives you enough energy to be able to do that, along with being able to use your Tornadoes and Tailwind. With your last Arcane slot, it entirely depends on what you prefer, but I would recommend running Grace over Guardian if you do decide to go with Energize, since Grace allows you to heal back the inevitable chunks of damage you'll take at random points in time. At the end of the day, the Arcanes are personal preference, and if you really want to run a different one from the ones I recommended, go for it as well, but these are the ones that I would recommend. It should be customized to fit your playstyle, however. And there you have it, boys, my Umbral Zephyr. Now, I am absolutely in love with this build. With the Gladiator Resolve and my Umbral mods, you have more EHP than Prime Flow plus Quick Thinking would give you, and you don't have to bother with the annoying stagger animation from Quick Thinking constantly. Arcane Grace also keeps your health topped off nicely, which is always a good thing. An expensive build for sure, but I think if you can afford to craft it and max everything out, especially the Umbral mods, they cost like 6 million credits and like 120k endo to max all 3 of them out. If you can afford it, highly recommend you to give this Zephyr build a shot. It's very, very fun, and I hope you guys will enjoy this build as much as I have so far. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Check out my Twitch channel as well, where I stream 5 times a week. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. And until then, peace.